Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beautiful Sunday, a perfect day to learn all about psychic development and remote sensing. So, before I jump into the meat and potatoes of why you're watching me here today, I want to give a little bit of an introduction to who I am and what I've done so far with remote viewing. So, my name is Patricia Monna, and I am a professional psychic medium and remote viewer up here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And before I jumped over and did the whole psychic mediumship and remote viewing and finding missing people, before I did that, I was actually a palliative oncology nurse. And that's actually where I really realized that I had a gift, that something was up with what I was sensing, what I was psychically sensing. And to take that one step further into my past, as a child, I had no idea that my reality was any different than anybody else's. It's not like I saw dead people walking through walls or heard disembodied voices. Thank God spirit didn't do that to me, because I don't know if I could have handled it. It probably would have scared the heck out of me. I know that there are psychics out there that do see things very visually, but for me, I sense it. And so when I was taught remote viewing, it just made so much sense to me. And so I want to be able to break it down for you guys on how I'm able to psychically sense and obtain accurate information from the matrix, from the universe. So when I was nursing, I could literally stand in a patient's room and scan them from head to toe and know where their illness was, what stage of cancer their cancer was at, right down to when they were going to pass away. And the reason why, looking back now, and the reason why, I could sense that was because it was a flux, a different change of energy that was happening within the person's body and within the room when someone was getting ready to pass away. Their vital life force energy changed. And for me, it was very easy to be able to sense and pick up on that shift that was happening within the patient's body. And so in 2008, I found my very first missing person. And, it's interesting the way the universe always lines things up, because I was actually taking a psychic development course. And the teacher, her cousin, was an RCMP officer. And someone had gone missing in a town that's about 300 kilometers from where I live in Calgary. So the officer had sent the picture to his cousin and asked, is there any chance that you'd be able to help out on this missing person case? And she couldn't see anything on the picture or pick anything up. So she handed it to me and she says, Patricia, try this. Can you tune in and tell me where this woman is? And the minute I saw the picture, it just started opening up, where I could literally see the couch that the lady was laying on. She was alive, very much alive. This woman had faked her death. And so I was tasked with bringing her home. And it was the most amazing feeling in the world to be able to provide right down to the numbers on the house, because I could see it very clearly. I knew that it was a white house with green trim. And so I guess I was a natural remote viewer without even realizing it. So within 4 hours, the RCMP was able to find that missing person, and it fascinated me. So when I spoke to that RCMP officer, I said, "Can I do it again? Can I do it again?" That was really, really easy for me. It just opened up the minute I started tuning in to this person's energy. And he says, "Nope, nope, nope. Sorry, Patricia, the RCMP do not use psychics at all." He's like, "But there is a team of law enforcement down in the US out of Phoenix, Arizona called Find Me." And he says, "I'm going to put you in touch with Kelly Snyder." He said, "Because that was amazing that you were able to find her so quickly for us." And so about 6 months later, I heard from Kelly Snyder, who is the founder of Find Me. And Find Me is an organization that is, I call it Fed led. It's led by a group of everything from FBI, search, track, and rescue, DEA. They've got linguistic specialists, handwriting specialists, and then there's 115 psychics from around the world that donate their time, volunteer their time to be able to look in on these cases and give their professional opinion on where the missing person can be found. And so I did quite a few cases with Find Me, and it blew me away to be able to find people that way. And to date, I have found 30 missing people using remote viewing and psychic sensing. And I call it psychic sensing because that's exactly what I did. But I'll get into how we do that because I'm going to leave you guys with some amazing tips and exercises and practices that you can do to be able to strengthen this. Because honestly, being a psychic is not a parlor trick. It's absolutely real. There is something so much greater than us out there that houses all the information of every single lifetime, every word we've ever thought, even our thoughts are recorded in the matrix. And so yes, you can, there is an actual way to be able to project your thoughts, to be able to hear what another person is even thinking. It depends on the vibration that you can raise yourself to. It's all about energy. It's all about vibration. And each and every one of us has our own unique energetic signature. It's comprised of our thoughts, our likes, our dislikes, our illnesses, our DNA. Everything that we've ever gone through in our life becomes part of our energetic signature that is unique to you. It's like it's like a thumbprint. No one has the same thumbprint as you unless you're identical twins. Then yes, you actually do have the same fingerprints. So when you look at all of the life experiences that you have ever been through, they have a feeling attached to them. Whether it's a good feeling, a positive feeling, a blah feeling, what if we just have a mundane day? It doesn't stick out in your field of energy as much as, having that crap scared out of you because you just witnessed something huge or just went through something huge. The bigger the energetic poof that goes off within your body when you have been scared or sitting in a place where your adrenaline is pumping, that actually creates a field of energy that begins on your inside. And if you think about it, where do you feel nervous energy? You feel it in your gut, right? You feel it goes poof. Well, that poof actually goes into your field of energy, into your auric field, and it leaves an imprint. No matter where you are, it leaves an imprint, right? And so it's the imprint of the person that I tune into if I'm looking back in time, forward in time, or if I'm looking for a person right now that's missing. It's their energetic imprint, like I said, and it's comprised of everything, including the DNA of that person. Did you know that your DNA holds a very specific resonance to it? It holds the family signature, the lineage, everything that your bloodline has been through. The story of it is housed within your DNA. So when it comes to being able to project consciousness, like I said, the easiest way to start with this is with someone that you love, because love is a natural carrier frequency. And the more you open your heart, the more you love someone, the more you are actually energetically tied to that person. And you can send messages back and forth no matter where you are in the world. And that's why, one twin can be in Canada and something happens, and the other twin, on the other side of the world knows. Why is that? Because there's a quantum entanglement between two people that are close or have a very strong carrier frequency between them. So I personally think that if you want to be able to develop your psychic senses and um, be able to feel into targets. Compassion, love, empathy, they are the biggest carrier waves of information that we can have, right? It's like when we say to someone, I know what you're going through. I feel it. I know what you're going through. It's an energy, right? Something maybe that you have been through that radiates on the same level as what another person is going through. Well, guess what? That compassion and empathy is a door opener, not just for understanding, but for you to actually be able to see what transpired. When someone is talking to me or telling me a story, I'm literally visualizing what it is that a person is saying. And the minute I can visualize what a person is saying, it actually opens up that doorway so that I can see what transpired. And if you think about it, the next time someone is talking to you, telling you a story, visualize what they're saying to you. And you'll notice that you actually get a visual of what it is that they're talking about. Well, if you look into that visual of what it is that they're saying, you'll notice that actual things happened and you're picking up on it. You are. And I say that because I look back at that missing person of the lady, my very first one that I did. And the minute I tuned into her energy, I could feel her fears. I could feel what she was going through in her relationship and why she faked her death. I could literally feel it go through me, that psychic sensing. And that's what I want to be able to teach you guys here today because it leads to so many other things when you can psychically tune in and sense your target. Everything around it just opens up. So, I want to share with you a little bit of where this can lead to when when you actually begin to open up those doors, open up those channels of psychic sensing. So, like I said, I found 30 missing people so far doing this stuff. So there's something to it. And back in 2015, I was called into a flood in Wimberley, Texas, where 8 people went missing. They went down the river when a house got swept away by the water. And I knew immediately that I'd only be able to find 6 out of 8 of the missing people because I could only feel the resonance of 6 out of 8 of those people. So, and to this day, oh, those 2 other people have never been found. So I wanted to show you where this stuff can lead. So this says it was stated the little boy was found on the Blanco River close to Water Park Road. The psychic appears accurate. Her pin's yellow, mine are red. So this is where I told the search and rescue to search. This is where the bodies were found. Each and every one of us are capable of this. And I think that in society nowadays, we're just so scared to feel anything, let alone the emotions and imprint of what someone else is gone through. So you have to be able to open your heart with compassion and love when it comes to doing this stuff. You have to want to be of service. So one of the things that I do is I offer my services with missing person cases absolutely free of charge. I've never charged a cent to look into a missing person case. I truly believe that if God gave me this crazy ability to be able to do this, I feel like it is my duty on this earth to be able to help where I can. So yeah, I do it on a volunteer basis, which I think it is very important because, like I said, it's all about energy. And one thing that I know is if I try to do this stuff scattered, look into this stuff where, I'm distracted over here or I have too much on my plate over here, it doesn't come through. It does not come through. So we have to learn to be able to clear our minds, clear our energy before we go into that matrix looking for information. So when I do a reading on a person, it to me, it literally feels like I am pulling someone's book off of the shelf of life and I'm just reading it. And it's literally like visuals. Like I watched their movie or read their book and I'm just decoding and explaining what it is that I see. Now, there are ways to absolutely be able to go back in time. It's not just for now or, a missing person that's been missing a month or a year. No, I've actually been tasked. I've been working with an archaeologist out in Australia on ancient massacre sites. And because there is no such thing as time in the matrix, you can absolutely be able to look into this at any time. So where there's an energetic imprint, wherever there's an energetic imprint, if I can tune into it, it opens up. And there's really nothing that you can't see. And there's many ways, many different ways, techniques to be able to do this. But I wanted to explain energetic imprints to you guys because it's it's something that you can absolutely feel. It doesn't matter how sensitive you are or how blocked you are. Think of New York City. Unfortunately, with 9/11, I'm going to use that as an example. 9/11 has such a massive energetic imprint because so many people passed away there. It's just like Flanders Fields. It has an energetic imprint because of the traumas that were embedded in that place and in that time. Well, those are also referred to as geographical energetic imprints. And it's when it is stuck to an area. And I honestly think that no matter how much cleansing or saging or prayers, that can be held to release that energy, I think that once it's there, it's there. For anyone who has gone to the 9/11 memorial, think about how you felt when you were going through it. The mourning, the heaviness, the sadness, the silence. It wasn't just because of all the names on the plaques and the pictures. It's almost like you can feel the souls or the energy that is embedded within that place, right? Well, whether it happened 20 years ago or 3,000 years ago, that energetic imprint, it's always going to be there. So let's talk about energy and how to be able to sense it and feel it, because that honestly is the most important thing that you can learn when it comes to psychic development. I really, really, really feel that it is my job to be able to teach myself out of a job. I do readings professionally, but I think I do humanity a bigger service if I show you guys how to do it so that you know how to be able to pull information from the matrix. So when I talk about psychic sensing, let me break that down for you. I want you to take a moment, just close your eyes, wherever you are, close your eyes. And I want you to think of the color blue. With your eyes closed, just see the color blue floating in front of you. And I want you to see how your body feels when you look at the color blue. Now switch to the color red, because there is a big vibrational difference between those two colors. Red to me feels a lot heavier than blue does. Well, and depending on the shade. But red to me, if when I'm looking and feeling into the color red, for example, it's passion, it's anger, it's standing in your power, speaking from a place of strength and solidity. That to me is the color red. Now I want you to think, and with your eyes closed, see the color white. How do you feel when I mention the color white, when you see it in your mind's eye? Feel into it. What does it represent to you? represents purity to me. I think of doves. I think of innocence. I think of high vibrations. What does the color white feel like to you? It's very important that we break things down like this so that you understand um, how this comes in handy later on, because spirit speaks to us in colors, in feelings, in vibrations, but it's up to us to be able to decode it. So I always like to start with colors because it's an obvious one. And for anyone out there, on a side note, who wants to be able to raise their vibration, um, feel into your clothes, feel into the colors of what you're putting on your body. If you need a day of, feeling grounded and plugged in, wear the darker colors. But if you are already sitting in a state of heaviness, wear the lighter colors and see where that takes you throughout the day. Feel into your wardrobe. And it's funny because when I've asked other psychics that, do you feel your colors? Do you feel your wardrobe before you put your clothes on for the day? They're like, always, always. I feel my clothes. I start with that. And it gives you an inkling of how your day is going to feel, right? Breaking it down for you guys. Because you need to be able to feel into all of it. So that there's colors. Now let's break it down into life and death. What does life feel like to you? Feels like breath. Feels like nature. Feels like happiness and vibrancy, right? What do you feel when you think of life? Do you think of freedom, flowing energy, light, enjoyment? Now, let's take a moment and feel in to the vibration of death. Death, to me, feels final. It feels like I'm picking up the phone and it's ringing and ringing and ringing and just nobody's answering. That's what death feels like to me. When I'm looking for a missing person, when I'm sitting at a geographical, energetic imprint and I know it, it's because when I send out my signal, no one's answering, right? To me, it feels flat. Feels like stagnant energy, stillness, nothingness, sadness, emptiness, sorrow. So if I'm handed a map and I'm looking, we'll say, for an ancient massacre site so that the archaeologist can preserve the land from being bulldozed, especially if it's a sacred site, it needs to be preserved. Well, when I go in and start looking on where to preserve, I literally am feeling for this signature of death. It feels stagnant to me. So I look for the stagnancy within the nature that I'm viewing. And it pops up. And I know where to be able to put my little pin. So I think that is a really good example of how remote viewing can be used anywhere. It's not just for a missing person. It can be used in history to find out what's happened. There is actually a way to be able to remote view the lottery. It's not as easy as it sounds, but there is an absolute way to be able to do it. But with everything being energy, I'm very careful with what I'm hooking my energy into or what I'm looking into as well. Because for anyone who does want to try remote viewing the lottery, what you're tuning into, if you stop and think about it, what you're tuning into is addictions. You're tuning into lost dreams because there's so many people addicted to playing it every week and they don't win every week. So again, it's energy, it's missed dreams, it's all of that. So for me, it's something that Could I remote view? Yeah, probably. I probably could do that and win it. But it's the energy behind the money. I think I'd rather make my own. So I'm careful, like I said, with where and what I look into, because everything has energy. I'll give you another example of how selective I am with what I remote view. I was asked by I was asked by a man who knew where money was buried on a family property. It was buried by Al Capone and a bunch of gangsters way back when that used to own the land and bury things on the land. And so he says to me, he goes, Patricia, there's about $250 million that's in somewhere on this huge acres and acres of land. Can you help me find it? And when I looked into it, what I saw was the energy of where that money came from. And what my guides showed me was don't touch that. Don't touch that energy. Even though I'm a good person and I will say I try to do what's right. And hypothetically speaking, I want to buy you a brand new house because you need a brand new house and I have now $250 million. Well, what happens is it's a ripple effect, it's karma. Money like that needs to stay in the ground because that's how houses burnt down. Or we'll say, I buy you the car of your dreams that you die in a car accident with, right? Everything has energy. Everything does. So I'm very careful with the cases that I take on when I am doing remote viewing. I make sure that I am working with the proper channels. I only will take missing person cases directly from the police or the immediate family of the person who is missing, simply because information getting into the wrong hands. Mm-mm. So I make sure that I go through the proper channels. It's like I said, everything is energy. So let's get into how I can teach you guys how to be able to do this. So where you are, I want you to just close your eyes. Take a nice, big, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let's just take a moment to ground yourself into your body, into this now moment. And in your mind's eye, and with your eyes closed, I want you to look around the room. Close your eyes and just look around your room. Look to your right, look up, look to your left. And I want you to see the room around you. Know where you're sitting. Know what is to your right and to your left. And I want you to just feel the room around you. Just feel where you are. Notice any noises, any distractions. And let's just breathe in pure clarity and exhale out all distracted energy. And now in your mind's eye, I want you to see a juicy green apple. Maybe put out your hand and feel the weight of this juicy green apple inside of your hand. Turn it around in your mind's eye and with your eyes closed. Notice the stem of the apple. Feel the weight of it in your hand. In your mind, I want you to take a nice, big, deep bite of this juicy green apple. And imagine the crunch on your teeth. I want you to smell that sweet apple when you inhale. And see if your mouth begins to salivate with the memory of the juicy green apple that you've eaten before. Okay, when you're ready, open your eyes. That little exercise is a great way to get your five senses going because psychic development, psychic sensing, and remote sensing, it's literally using your five senses in combination to get to your sixth. That's sensing the information. How do we sense the information? We feel it. We smell it. We taste it. We hear it. Hear the crunch, right? And how do you know what a juicy green apple tastes like? Well, you've had one before, but you also just tuned into the energetic signature of a juicy green apple. That is a target or an object that you know you've had before, right? So it triggers that memory and you can feel it within your body. Everything has an energetic signature that can be felt within the body. It's a frequency. It's its own energy, right? Now, it's the same thing with your room. When you had your eyes closed, looking around your room, right? You know what's around you. You can feel what's around you. Guess what? You can also do that from other locations, from where or to other locations, right from where you are sitting. You can project your consciousness. So let's take that projection a little bit further. I want you to close your eyes again. Take a nice, big, deep breath and dump it out. And wherever you're seated, with your eyes closed and in your mind's eye, I want you to see the door of the room and walk over to it. In your mind's eye, walk over to the door of the room. I want you to open it. And I want you to see what is beyond the door of the room that you are in right now. Allow the scene to open up. And now take a few steps further. And I want you to go to the front door of the building or the house that you are in. Take yourself to the front door. Open the door and take a few steps onto the sidewalk. And I want you to see the closest road in front of you. If it's the street that your house is situated on, look to your left and look to your right. And I want you to see the street before you. Look for any cars that are going by, or any cars that are on the road. Just psychically sense as you stand outside and look at the road before you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Whether you realize it or not, you just remote viewed your street. And in your mind's eye, if you saw any cars going by, bet you there was. And if you psychically saw any cars sitting on the side of the road or parked on the side of the road, when we're done this, go outside and actually look. What cars did you see in here? Do they match the cars that are on the street before you? Bet you anything they will. And can you sit there and say, well, it's because you know your street? Well, no. Yes, but no, because we're going to take you even further than that. So let's close your eyes again. Take another big, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And get that visual of you standing on the side of your street. And in your mind's eye, I want you to fly to the closest park in your area. Have a look. See the closest park to where you are. And I want you to stand in the grass, seeing the trees, what's around. Feel the grass on your feet. And in your mind's eye, I want you to find a tree within that park. Just give it a big hug, putting your arms around the tree. Let's feel for the energetic signature of a beautiful tree. Feel the bark against your hands. See the roots spread across the ground. And just feel the energy of the tree that you are connecting with. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to climb up that tree all the way to the top. And getting a bird's eye view of what's around the park. From the top of the tree, I want you to look around. If there's any people below, I want you to feel for the energy of who walks below you. Raise your perception to the top of the tree and have a look around. Look to the left and to the right. Do a 360-degree turn in your mind's eye. See what is below you. And feel the energy of the tree that you stand atop of. Now, in your mind's eye, come back down that tree. Bring yourself back to the chair that you sit in. Whether you realize it or not, you just tuned in to the energetic signature of a tree, and you also gained a bird's eye view. So I ask you, for anybody who could see it and feel it, what did you see below you? What did you see in your mind's eye? Because this is exactly a good example of remote viewing and what it feels like. It feels like you're using your imagination. But the coolest thing is when you're at what you're actually doing is projecting your consciousness to that site. You're projecting a portion of you to that top of the tree that can then look around and do a 360-degree turn. You can merge consciousness with a tree if you know the vibration of a tree and you know what it feels like. You know what it smells like. You can actually go right up it into a bird's nest. The other thing that you can do is project your consciousness into that bird and have a look around. Fly around the area and see what's below you. There's many, many, many different ways to be able to view what's happening below you or in a different area that you're not in right now. But the greatest thing that you can do for yourself is practice being able to see something that isn't in your right now reality. The more you are visualizing what a person is saying, the more you're visualizing how your day is going to go, visualizing what's being said to you in a book when you're reading a book. All of that stuff is literally bringing 5D information in through your body into the 3D, whether you realize it or not. And what you're processing, what you're seeing, there's a lot more truth to it than what people realize. That's the trippy thing about this stuff. Like I said, it's not like I see dead people walking through walls. So to me, I didn't know that my reality was any different. I just thought that I was imagining where the person would be or what's happening. When someone is telling me a story, I thought I was just imagining it. No, I was actually picking up on the details, right down to if someone was telling me something, I could even see the color of shirts, the outfits, that people were wearing as they're describing me the events. Well, what is that? That's psychic sensing, right? So you can do that through history by listening to what someone is saying and visualizing the information that's coming through, right? You can also do it with a target. So like I was saying, compassion, love, empathy, the more you have that for someone, the more you can actually be able to merge with their consciousness and feel what they experienced, see almost like it's through their eyes what they experienced. It's the energetic wavelength that the person is emitting that you're literally hooking into and being able to perceive and understand. But the more we practice this stuff, tuning into different objects. The apple was so that you could taste, hear the crunch, feel that experience, right? Well, let's now try someone that you love. Let's hook into a loved one and send them love. And when it's strong enough, when it is concentrated enough, they'll get it. You'll pop into their mind. They'll give you a call. So let's try it. Let's try that. So what I want you to do is close your eyes again, wherever you're sitting. Take a nice, big, cleansing, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just bring yourself to this now moment. Feel your body. Feel for any tension or stress. Feel what is yours. What is your energy? Where is it at right now? Bring it down to a place of neutrality. Dissolving and releasing any energy that doesn't belong to you. Let us feel for your energetic signature. Feel your peace. Feel your body. Feel the chair that you're sitting in. Feel exactly where you're at. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to see your loved one standing before you. And starting from the top of their head, I want you to just look at them, look at their hair. See their skin and their face in your mind's eye. See their shoulders and their arms, their hands and their body and legs. See them standing before you. And I want you to open your heart and feel the love that you have for them. Going to your highest, most beautiful memory of love with them. Just allow that energy to flood your body as it recalibrates your energy to pure love, to pure clarity of their energy and information. Just align yourself with the vibration of love. And in your mind's eye, I want you to reach out and put your arms around them, holding them in your arms. Feel your heart open and expand. As you inhale pure joy, happiness, and love, all the wonderful memories that your loved one brings with them. And as you hug them, I want you to notice how they feel in your arms. How wide their shoulders are, how tall they are. Feel yourself giving them the biggest hug. And in your mind's eye, I want you to give them a loving message. Send them a beautiful message. And send it with the carrier frequency of love. Send your message through your heart and feel that love transferred, that message received. And in your mind's eye, Just view what they are doing in this now moment as you send your message of love. Where are they? What are they doing? Feel for their signature, their energy, and allow that energy to show you where they are. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to me. That little exercise of tuning into a loved one, I find it fairly easy, especially if that love is strong and thick. It can be felt wherever they are, clear across the globe. So these little things that you can do, these tips that you can practice, tuning into things, visualizing where you're going before you get there. It's all in the matrix. Even our future, it's already recorded. We just need to move through it, to it, and live it. So, the other practice thing that I wanted to um, give you guys to do is if you can find a friend that will do this with you, get them to pick out an object and leave it on their kitchen table and tune into that object as you're going to sleep at night. Try and view it. What is on your friend's table sitting in the middle of it? Describe the colors. Describe the texture. What does it feel like? Is there a smell to it? Is there a taste to it? Is there a heat to it? Maybe it's a candle. So these are little great ways, actually, to be able to train your remote viewing senses. Because you can do this from anywhere in the world. My missing person cases, I sit at home and usually do it, with my computer on my lap, laying in bed, because the energy is in the matrix. It's all there. And the more you can visualize, the more you're actually going to be able to pick up the information. Parents out there, the greatest thing that you can do for your kids is to teach them to visualize. Read them books that don't have the pictures in them every once in a while. And you'll see for yourself, that the deeper, even with you, when you read books that, don't have pictures in them, what are you visualizing? What are you picking up on? What are you visualizing? Did you ever stop to think that maybe you're actually picking up on the characters that the author had in their minds as they were writing it, right down to how they looked, their height, all of that, even if it wasn't described? It's all there. It's just a matter of us being able to tune in and understand the information that we are receiving. So, I wanted to be able to take some questions because that I realized that we're coming up on almost an hour. That flew by so fast. I still have so much to teach. I wanted to also mention to you guys, I am teaching a 4-week program on remote viewing. It's called Quantum Psychic and Remote Sensing. I'll be starting that on May 25th. You can sign up at my website that is on the screen. It'll go for 4 Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, and I will be sending out the recording for anyone who can't make it live, if you're on the other side of the world. Yeah, I want to be able to teach you guys even more and give you more great tips and homework on how to be able to tune in, because there is so much more, like the power of meditation. Yeah, if there's any questions or comments um, that you have for me, throw them up in the chat. Oh, let me see here. Oh, ha! I wasn't seeing any of the comments. I'm so sorry, you guys. um, yeah, I didn't have it on the right. I had it still on private chat. Sorry. Um, okay, let's just see here if there's any questions. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from the UK and from Florida, Vancouver Island, Louisville, Kentucky, BC. Thank you guys. This is just awesome. I love to see people from all over the world learning this stuff because I truly believe that the more you understand this reality and what's happening in it, um, the more power you have to change it. And I mean it. It's learning to understand our own individual gifts and how the universe speaks to each and every one of us because it is different. But even with this stuff, I can give you everything that I know and teach you guys how to do this. But it's the practice. It's the practice. So one of the things that I want to say is this week, take the time to start feeling for the energy off of even the cars that you pass. We'll say that you're driving down the road. Every single car that passes you has an energetic signature because of the person that's driving it, because of the vehicle that they're sitting in, right? The speed that even they're driving at. It's all part of the signature. So even when a person walks by you or drives by you, feel for that energy. Start to become acutely aware of the energy and the signatures that are around you. Because when you can actually feel it, you can start to decode it. Feeling it is the first place that you want to start. So, can you still use your abilities regardless of your emotional state, or you must always remain calm? It sucks trying to do remote viewing or psychic stuff if you're stuck in your own head. Um, if you had a bad day, like if I'm sitting here worried about my kids or anything, yeah, it causes total disconnection and interference with the readings that I try to do. So I try to remain clear as in the moment as I possibly can. And for any intuitives out there that seem to be losing their memory, you're not alone. I think that the more we become attuned to the now, we forget about yesterday and we're able to quickly and easily dump our emotional baggage. That's the greatest thing about spiritual development and psychic development is that you learn to focus on what really, really matters and let go of what doesn't. So I try to stay as present as I possibly can when I'm doing readings or doing this stuff. Yeah. Okay. I've had a remote viewing experience where I could hear a conversation, so we can hear things too, right? Veronica, yeah, absolutely. That's clairaudience. I'm I'm clairaudient when I'm falling asleep. That's when I start to hear conversations. But one thing that I noticed that for clairaudience, it's harder to be able to hook into the hearing and get the actual sentences. So if you are clairaudient where you can actually pick up on the full sentences, that is flippin' amazing. Yeah, because clairaudience is kind of tough, but it's all of the five senses that we have access to um, that bridge us with the other side and the matrix and that we're able to be able to pull information through. For me, it's feelings. I can feel it, literally feel it around a person, like with my hands, and I can wave my hands over a person and know where their energy is stuck, um, know what shift has to happen, know even what thoughts and traumas created that energetic imbalance. It's interesting. You can go real deep with this stuff once you know how to be able to sense and read energy. Okay, next question. My Kathy says my clairaudience kicks in when I'm falling asleep and waking up. Yeah, me too. That's when I can hear the conversations. Veronica says she was in meditation. Yeah. So what you're doing is actually dipping into the hypnagogic state. that opens up everything that's going on around you. It's like a radio, right? We're sending and receiving signals all day long, and as our energy starts to flip radio stations as we're falling asleep, we get to actually hear the play-by-play of what's happening in those other dimensions. But the greatest way I can equate this stuff is literally radio transmitters, because spirit's constantly speaking to us. And you guys, start paying attention to the voices in your head. Now let me explain that without sounding crazy. We're always having a running narrative in our head, always. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You're always talking to yourself, right? And there's always that conversation going on. Well, stop, stand back, and actually observe the conversation that's going on in your head, because half the time it's not just you talking to you. Spirit is very telepathic, very telepathic. So when you start to pay attention to the conversation that's happening, you'll begin to hear a bounce back voice. I call it the bounce back voice. And that is the voice of your intuition. It's the voice of spirit coming through. It a lot of the time is a lot lower, or another person will describe it as the voice of your intuition. I should have picked A instead of B on a test. You just knew it, and so you got the answer wrong. What was that little voice that told you, yeah, you should have picked A instead of B? What was that? That's the voice of spirit. And when we learn to attune our energy to that, actually become the observer of the conversation in our mind, you'll be shocked at how much great advice is in there, because the voice of your spirit guides are also blended with that voice. It's interesting because in the Bible, it says, Jesus says, before you will have asked, I will have already answered, referring to the voice of God. Before you will have asked, I will have already answered. I was brought up Christian, and so that Bible verse stuck with me, and it bugged me until I understood it. Before you will have asked, I will have already answered. That's the voice of your guides. That's the voice of spirit, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. That is something that you absolutely need to start listening to. So a simple example of that is, where are my keys? Where are my keys? I'm running around, where are my keys? But before I get to where are my, I hear, oh, they're on the table. Was that my guides telling me to get my button gear? Okay, they're on the table here, Patricia, so you're not late. Or so you missed that car accident by 2 seconds, right? So listen to that voice that's constantly answering your questions for you. And you'll notice that it's not just you answering back. Okay, Anna says, lately my meditation is feeling more like floating and flying. I gotta say, the energy around us is definitely shifting. The frequency on Earth has become faster. Oh, and I will let you guys in on a little secret. We've totally jumped timelines in the last, I want to say 11, 12 days. We've jumped timelines. The greatest way in the 3D world that you're going to recognize that is all your clocks are off. Go around your house. I guarantee you all your clocks are off, whether it's a minute to 5 minutes to 4 minutes. Yeah, clocks aren't on the same time anymore. And that's simply because we've shifted timelines. So let's pray we're on a good one. Okay. Okay, does anybody have, oh, Noah, I missed that question. Can anyone learn how to do this? Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. This is, every single person has 5 senses. Everyone is connected to spirit. Everyone's connected to the matrix. It's just a matter of how many people are interested, how many people, actually take the time out to meditate and to practice. That's the biggest thing. Meditation, clearing your mind, clearing your energy, because other people's stuff can get stuck to you, and then you think it's yours, but it's not. And you carry the weight of other people's stuff on your shoulders. So clearing your energy, for me, what does that look like? Well, if I'm feeling really heavy from a day of, heavy clients or dealing with heavy casework, what I'll do is I'll take a full cup of Himalayan salt and I will dump it in a nice hot bath and I will soak in there. And the greatest thing that you can do is even put your hair under that salt water, simply because energy even sticks to your hair right? It's porous. So it's good to completely dissolve it all under a salt bath. What's the other thing that I do? I ground myself. I walk my dogs. I get out in nature. I hug a tree. For anyone who hasn't hugged a tree, I know that sounds really weird, but I only did it for the first time 2 summers ago, and I have to say the energy that I felt was flippin' amazing. Amazing what Mother Earth can do for us and how she can heal us. So, yeah, it's an excellent way to ground yourself is get out there and hug a tree. Kathy, would you mind reiterating the info for your course, please? Absolutely. So, I'm going to be teaching a 4-week program called Quantum Psychic and Remote Viewing. It starts May 25th at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It goes from 7 to 8:30, so it's 90 minutes. And it will be every Wednesday for 4 Wednesdays, like I said, starting May 25th. Um, and I'll be sending out the recording within 24 hours of the class finishing. So if you're, in another part of the world or you can't make it to the live because it's the middle of the night, yeah, you'll get the recording the next day. And there's tons of homework in it too. I give some really, really good stuff. I only had an hour here today, and I'm looking at my notes, going, God, there was so much to pack in. I only did a fraction. But yeah, I can't believe how quick time was flying. So yeah, my 4-week program, and it's on my website. It's posted on my website under my classes. So Quantum Psychic. Unifyd asks, when you do a reading, do you ever receive messages that you have to decide whether to tell the individual or not? Okay, this is how I look at it. People are paying me for the truth. They're not coming for sugar-coated BS. So no matter what it is, if I see it, I say it. I trust my guides. I trust the Holy Spirit that works through me. You guys, honestly, how I start my day is in prayer. I put my hands up in the air. I say, Lord, use me, speak through me, work through me, work through my hands so that everything I touch is blessed, is lifted. Work through my words, let them make sense and be heard and used in a way that's constructive and uplifting for humanity. So when I say my prayer and then it's go time, I trust what I see. Sometimes I'll kind of trip over my words trying to find out exactly how I should word it. But generally speaking, no. If I see it, I say it. And it's a really, really good thing that I do because, like, for example, I'm very fine-tuned to cancer. I was an oncology nurse for 13 years. And so cancer to me smells like this putrid, rotting. For any police officers out there that have um, dealt with, you know, deceased people before that have been there for a while, that's what cancer smells like to me. It smells like rotting flesh almost. And even if it's not an open wound on a person, I will get a whiff of that if they're sitting in my chair and they have cancer. And so it's happened a few times where I actually was able to diagnose it before they even went to the doctor. I had this one lady who was wearing jeans, and I said to her, I said, "You have a mole on your lower left knee that really, really, really needs to get checked out." And she says to me, she goes, "Well, I was just at my dermatologist a couple months ago." She's like, "They gave me all clear." And I said, I'm getting pushed forward. This is an ongoing thing. They didn't look at it. And so she's like, "Okay, okay, I'll go get it checked." Well, she didn't get it checked, but my words bugged her for about 3 months. So she finally booked an appointment and went in again to her dermatologist. And sure enough, it was an aggressive cancer where they actually had to remove part of the bone on her knee because of how fast it was growing. And she when she came back to me to show me the scar, she says, "Patricia, you saved my leg and possibly my life by telling me this." She goes, "And the only thing that got through my head was," she goes, your words kept pounding in my head." Um, and another really good example is um, one of my clients who became a really dear friend of mine. I can take a look at a person and know, is this person worth marrying? Are they really your greatest are they really gonna contribute to your greatest joy, or are they gonna drag you through the mud with a nasty divorce? And it's interesting because usually when I tell a person, "Yeah, you might not wanna marry that person," I'm never wrong. So, I always say what I see. I just learn to choose I try to choose my words carefully so I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, but, yeah, if spirit tells me to say it, shows me to say it, I gotta say it. It's part of my job. So, okay. I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions or oh, it's 111. Now it's 112. So, if there's no other questions or comments, yeah. Okay. Oh, here's another one. Anna, have you ever been wrong on the info you remote view? Yeah, I've been wrong in cases before. Yeah. Um, the there's two two cases that I can think of where I took on too many cases at once and the information got switched and it was bits of this case got mixed in with this case and that was not cool because to me that's not a hit. I mixed up my information, right? But yeah, like I'm not foolproof. None of us are. And if any psychics out there sit there and say that they're 100%, um, yeah, I'd take your money and run. But the thing that I do, because yes, I'm human. But what I also do is I offer a 100% money back guarantee on my readings because I feel like if if you're going to trust me to look into your life and pay me for it, I better be right. Absolutely right. And I got really good reviews. I don't have people, I'm going to be very honest, I don't have people coming to me telling me that I'm wrong. But with when it comes to missing person cases, there are definitely easier cases for me than others. There are some cases where it's like, yeah, I can't see squat on this person. But I think that's what happened to that really good psychic teacher that passed me that photo and I was able to see it. I think it really, really depends on a lot of different circumstances and different energy as to why, something isn't available, the information's not available to me. Maybe they're not meant to be found. That is one factor that that I think is a big one because I look at the Texas case that I did, where those two people could not feel their signature when I looked into the case, and to this day, like I'll look back at that case. Can I find them? Can I find them? No, they're gone. Those people to me feel gone. Where I don't think anyone, unfortunately, will be able to find them. So I think there's other circumstances that come into play here. Um, that are beyond my control sometimes. But I do try to keep my energy as crystal clear as I can before I go into a missing person case or even like the archaeological dig that I'm going to be doing in June. Got to keep my energy clear if I'm going to be able to look into, a 3,000-year-old case. So, yeah. Well, I thank you guys so, so, so much for having me on here and taking the time to listen. This is so cool. I was really nervous about doing this. I'm a little camera shy, but yeah, I love you guys so much for joining me. I do teach meditations. I really wanted to be able to do a mini meditation with you guys, but next time, I guess we'll have to save that for next time. And I do teach them online as well as in person here in Calgary in my studio. So join me anytime. You can sign up through my website. Yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and I will see you next time. Take care.